such as Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier were taken into custody today. Former, current NBA players and coaches.
When the story broke, names like Terry Rozier, Chauncey Billups, and Damon Jones flashing across headlines, it didn't just shake the NBA. It reframed it. Because what the public saw wasn't only a gambling scandal. It was a story about trust, power, and perception, told through the psychology of race, reputation, and timing. According to federal indictments, players and coaches are accused of leaking insider information about player health and game availability, using it to profit from bets. Others allegedly helped rig high-stakes poker games connected to organized crime networks. And these aren't small names. Rozier, an active Miami Heat guard. Billups, a current head coach, a finals MVP, a respected leader. Jones, a former Cavs player and coach, known league-wide. The government says they conspired, cheated, and manipulated the system for profit. But that's just the surface story. The real question is, why now? Because the NBA has long been tied to gambling. Not secretly, but officially. The league has multi-million-dollar partnerships with major sportsbooks, gambling companies sponsor broadcasts, and betting odds scroll across every pregame show. So, after years of profiting from the system, why are the same institutions suddenly calling foul? That's not coincidence. That's control. It's how systems of power maintain credibility, by deciding who crosses the line and when the line even exists. Here's the deeper psychological layer. Every institution needs an example, a public display that says, "We protect integrity." And in this case, those examples are once again high-profile black men Rozier, Billups, and Jones. Individuals who have influence, visibility, and respect within a league that is over 70% African American. So while the legal story talks about gambling, the subconscious message to the public becomes something else. Even those in power can't be trusted. That doesn't need to be said directly. It's felt. It's absorbed. It's part of a long-standing psychological strategy. Create just enough doubt to shift perception from empowerment to suspicion. Now let's talk about timing. These indictments didn't appear randomly. They arrived right after other gambling investigations within basketball began to draw attention, just as the public's trust in sports betting was starting to fracture. The narrative flips. Instead of questioning the billion-dollar gambling industry, the focus moves to the athletes. The story stops being about systems of profit and starts being about individuals with blame. That's narrative redirection at its finest. The media calls the sportsbooks victims. Corporations that profit from risk suddenly become the innocent ones. And the players who are part of the human side of that same system become the villains. That's not about justice. That's about optics. It's the classic play of perception management. Control the story, control the mind. This also primes fans and the public for what's next. Greater surveillance of players, more control over privacy, stricter behavioral monitoring, all under the banner of protecting integrity. But integrity, in this context, is just a mask for power. So here's the uncomfortable question. Is this really about cleaning up the game or cleaning up the image of those who profit from it? Because if integrity was truly the goal, there would be equal attention on the corporate partnerships, the gambling platforms, and the league executives who profit from the very same risk culture. But those people aren't being charged, they're being celebrated. Now, this isn't to say the accused are innocent or guilty, that's for the courts. But PsychOps Sports looks beyond the headlines, at the pattern of perception, how the story is told, who it benefits, and what it teaches the public to believe. A respected black coach, a current player, a former mentor, all suddenly framed with words like fraud, cheating, and organized crime. Whether intentional or not, the psychological effect is powerful. It reinforces a familiar bias, that when black leadership emerges in powerful spaces, it still comes with an asterisk. That's not prosecution, that's programming. If this were a Wall Street insider scandal, we'd hear words like ethical lapse or misjudgment. But in sports, when the faces are black, the tone changes. The language hardens. Conspiracy. Rigged. Criminal enterprise. This is how systems shape the subconscious, by recycling narratives that protect institutions while weakening representation. So what are we really watching? A criminal case? Or a psychological operation designed to reinforce who holds the power? Because make no mistake, this story isn't just about money or poker chips. It's about control, of image, of influence, of who gets to be trusted in public view. And while the headlines scream integrity, the message underneath whispers something different. Remember who the system really belongs to. The real game isn't being played in casinos or courts, it's being played in the minds of the public, in the slow conditioning of perception and bias. Because the most powerful operations don't need to shout, they just need to suggest. This is PsychOps Sports, where we don't just cover the story, we decode it. If you see the pattern too, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and drop your thoughts below. Because in this game, the real scoreboard isn't measured in points, it's measured in perception.